Okay, homies. Alright, homies. So, yeah, man. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. We're just starting it just like straight off the bat, straight off the rocker. We're gonna be talking about Le Fatal Fury. Oh my god, right? The most ambitious, right? Ambitious, like, fighting game to, so far, like, come out from SNK. Yeah. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is, you know, SNK's next big game. It's gonna follow the continuation of Gauro Mark of the Wolves from so many, like, years ago, right? Like, when did, like, Gauro, like, come out, dogs? 2025 minus 1999? That's, like, 26 years. 26 years since, like, Gauro Mark of the Wolves. And when was, like, the first Fatal Fury game? Fucking 1991. So if I do, like, 2025 minus 1991, that's almost like 34 years. Such a long time since like Fatal Fury ever became, like, you know, pretty dominant and popular again, right? Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is SNK's next big game after King of Fighters 15. And King of Fighters 15 fucking ended with the team Hakeshu, or sorry, Team Bad Bitches, Vice Immature, right? And so every SNK fan and every fighting game fan and his eyes are going to be looking towards Fatal Fury, right? That's going to be the next big game, and a few lucky contestants that, you know, do live in California, or even, like, you know, in places like EVO Japan, right? They got the chance to play Fatal Fury City of the Wolves via exhibition booths here and there across, like, you know, the year, across the world. And man, they are so lucky because they got, like, you know, first hands-on footage of what Fatal Fury City of the Wolves plays like. I don't live in California. I don't, that's not my permanent residence there, right? And of course, I am a small streamer, right? So I don't have that I don't have that much of a big clout, right? Haven't garnished, like, a huge, like, following, right? I'm still categorized as a small streamer. I'm grinding, and the grind is, you know, right? That's besides that. A lot of the dudes that have tried out Fatal Fury City of the Wolves prior to this open beta, which launched last weekend around February 20th to February 24th. So pretty much, like, almost 4 to 5 days of, you know, open beta fun. Before the open beta, we could only get, like, word of mouth from, like, you know, the website and from you know, fighting game content creators, word of mouth. Once, like, I heard announcement of, like, the open beta, not a closed beta, mind you. If they were to do, like, a closed beta, then that would surely be sour. But an open beta, oh man, was I super, like, over the moon for that, because all I've been hearing are, like, good impressions about Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. And when the open beta came out, and when the Khaiza, like, streamed it, I actually understand where these guys are coming from. That Fatal Fury is, like, you know, the bee's fucking knees of Fatal Fury of SNK, right? So the first part of the, like, this, like, we're gonna do, like, an impression video of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves open beta. We're gonna first talk about, like, the gameplay of Fatal Fury, since, you know, I've only, like, heard about it from word of mouth. So this will be, like, you know, my thoughts on the gameplay of Fatal Fury. And then we're gonna jump into the online of what's good about the open beta, what's not so good about the open beta, and that will, like, make segues into other topics, like online. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, as soon as I got the game, I was very surprised when I was like playing it. I discovered that it was a 5-button fighter, right? So the standard KOF has like, you know, 2 punches, 2 kicks if you're playing like in arcade style, right? Light punch, heavy punch, A, C, right? And then you have light kick, heavy kick, B, D, right? A, B, C, D, right? That's the standard, like, you know, notation format for at least like KOF games, and they like, you know, translate over, you know, so it makes it pretty easy to like understand. But what really like, you know, surprised me was the addition of the 5th button, the guard button, or like the rev guard, right? And that all ties back to like, you know, the rev system of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. So you have like this like, you know, rev system that's pretty much like, you know, like, I'm gonna borrow your homework, but it don't make it look like I borrowed your homework type of thing from Street Fighter 6, right? The rev system is pretty much like your drive from Street Fighter 6. You have like this little like, you know, half circle like bar, right? And it works as if like if you do more actions that are tied to rev, then the rev bar will pretty much fill up, right? The more rev blows you do, the more it like fills up to, let's say, like 100%. If you're at 100% rev, then you're gonna get something that's called overheat. Very kind of similar to burnout in Street Fighter 6, where in overheat you can't use any rev arts, you can't use rev blows, you can't use EX moves, right? Things like that, and you take guard damage. But there are also defensive mechanics or ways to have your rev bar be, you know, cooled down so that you can reset and do some very fancy shit. The way to reduce cooldown usage on rev is hitting like command strings or getting like solid hits on the opponent. Technically being like aggressive, right? Landing solid blows, landing combos. That, you know, resets your drive bar. Oh, sorry, your rev bar. There's also defensive mechanics, like they have Just Defense, where you block at the right time the opponent is going to make a hit. And what's crazy about Just Defense or JDs, right? You can not only do them on the ground, but you can also do them in the air. So you can do like, you know, anti-wake up strats if you jump up on the opponent, not do anything, but jump up on the opponent and do back JD at you know, rhythmically like tight inputs, you know, if that makes sense. JDs are there. There's also hyper defense that also reduces cooldown. That's more like, yo, if you do like if they're doing like a multi-hit string on you or like a block string, you just input forward, kind of like a Street Fighter 3 parry, you know? But it only works on multiple hits, not on single hits. And then there's also like rolls is also there, wake up rolls in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. There's also yeah, or like teching. There's feints and breaks. So feints are like, you know, you feint a move, like do like rocks like Reppuken, but cancel the startup animation, cancel the animations of Reppuken and return back to like neutral. Breaking is also technically kind of a feint, but it's more like if you use it in combo, right? Or on block stun. Like you could do like, you know, rising tackle break, like rocks like shoulder, rising tackle, you stop midway and you don't commit to the full rising tackle. You press light punch and light kick to do a break, right? So there's a lot of like defensive mechanics, and there are like resources there that help you reset your rev gauge to 0, right? So it's very similar to like, you know, Street Fighter, but also kind of like the opposite, where in Street Fighter you burn your resources for your drive to get like max damage, and if you use too much, you're gonna get burnt out. But if in Fatal Fury, if you use too much of your rev actions, then you're gonna be, you know, overheated, and you're just gonna be in minus. That's like the rev system as like a whole. Now for like, you know, the game feeling itself, right? I was honestly pretty, you know, jazzed about like the gameplay. It does feel like a little bit like, you know, slow, right? It does feel, it's not as, you know, fast and like octane, right, as some of like other KOF games, like maybe like KOF 15, right, where like KOF 15 is like, you know, a team-based versus fighting game like KOF All-Stars. No, this is pretty much Fatal Fury centric. So it's going to be just like, not really like, you know, a KOF or like, let's say a Marvel, right? But it does play like, you know, a Street Fighter. You start to feel like a little bit slow, right? Just like a teensy like bit. You'll start to feel like, not like, you know, weights, but like you put on like some like, you know, Rock Lee like straps, my G. You're gonna feel a little bit like, you know, slow, right? But moves and like, you know, hit confirms, if you have played like SNK games before, if you have played KOF games before, where, you know, like KOF 15, KOF 14, KOF 13, then this is like right up your alley. Not like as slow as like, you know, Samurai Showdown. I mean, Samurai Showdown is a completely different game from, let's say, Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. No, it's like you're still like doing combos, you're still landing like hit confirms, like punish counters, right? They call it wild punish, right? Things like that. But the gameplay feels like pretty alright. It was like sluggish, like at the beginning, but once you start like playing more and more, like the feeling starts to like sink in. Like it definitely feels like Street Fighter, not really like Street Fighter type of movement, but you know, something something similar to Street Fighter. Landing hits, like being like offensive, very much reminds me of KOF. Like I like during like my stream of doing the tutorial, I was already like, you know, doing shit that just kind of like felt natural, since I had like, you know, some KOF like knowledge and expertise. I already like discovered like light confirms in there, right? So I was just like, you know, going ham. Rock was like the well, it's technically like a, you know, a spoiler for like, you know, a con for the open beta, which is like Rock was only like, was the only one playable in the Fatal Fury open beta, and he was the only one, you know? So that is kind of a problem, right? But I did love like the flair for Rock Howard, right, in this one, right? He's got all of his like he's got half of his dad's move, right? Both Terry's and Geese, you know? But he does feel like his own man. Back to like the game, right? Offensive felt like a little bit weird because there were like, you know, some subtle changes of how I usually am with not Fatal Fury, with SNK games. First off, throws are not forward with, you know, heavy punch or heavy kick or B/D. No, they're actually light punch, light kick together. So actual Street Fighter throw buttons. That only creates like, you know, chances of motherfuckers like shimming you when you try to like wake up throw or like, you know, run up throw, tick throw, and on whiff it becomes like a big like punish counter opportunity. Also, they have like supers in the game, right? But the thing, and to do supers, like there's like the level 1 super and the level 2 super. Level 1s are tied to light buttons, while level 2s are tied to heavy buttons. But the difference is that you can't, let's say, do like both of the buttons at the same time for, like, let's say Rock Howard's Raging Storm. The heavy version costs 2 bars while the light version costs 1 bar, because in the game you have underneath your rev are 2 bars, 2 star bars, and those are saved for your super slash ultras. Those are saved for your super slash ultras, and you have your ultra in the game, and that's tied to a rev button, right? It's tied to the rev guard button, which is, that's kind of like the odd thing is, like, yeah, Fatal Fury is kind of like a 5-button fighter. Yeah, so this felt kind of like weird because I was like trying to like figure it out on my fight stick, like different button mechanics. There are also other like offensive mechanics in Fatal Fury, which are the dodge attack mechanics. So in Fatal Fury, you have like a low dodge and a high dodge, and that creates like cool cinematic, like almost Tekken slowdown hits that can like lead to, like, you know, punish counters, and you could go for like full ham damage, right? I didn't utilize it a lot. I should have, but they're tied to like a rev button as well. And you know what's also tied to rev buttons? Feinting. Feinting is also tied to rev buttons. Feinting with heavy kicks. Heavy kick is feint, and rev guard with heavy punch are low dodges slash high dodges. So there's a lot of stuff in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, both offensive and defensive. I kind of like admired that, like even like before, right? The most like balanced, you know, fighting game there is. I kind of like dig that. This is straight up like, you know, a footsie fighting game. It's not high octane like KOF. I kind of like to like have that, but I understand why that is, because let's say if you do that, then it's gonna be 80%, and that's not gonna be fair. And I honestly dig it, right? Because, you know, I love like the creativity that you can do with like some of the mechanics, like especially rev arts, or sorry, rev axle, which is kind of like, you know, their version of drive rush, where you can like do a special move on top of another special move on top of another special move. The damage is going to be, the offset of that is damage is going to be scaled, right? So, and of course, if you do too many special moves, EX special moves, right? That's like tied to like your rev bar, then, ooh, then you're gonna be eating like overheat a bit, you know? So that's not gonna be fun. But I love like the creativity of just giving me the ability to like, you know, not just for like, you know, not just, you know, for like offense, like, you know, like opening up motherfuckers, that's also really like nice, but also the fact that like, oh, I can combo into this, I can combo into that, right? And on top of that, there's like EX specials tied to break, so you can do like break, EX break, rising tackle, and you could do like not 1, not 2, but like 3 of them things, you know, 3 of them things. Yeah, I love this is why I love like, you know, KOF and like SNK games, is that, yeah, they just have a lot of like sauce and like, you know, potential that it just like racks your brain like in a good way. Like I'm still thinking of like, you know, my combo routes for Fatal Fury back in the beta, and I want to keep tackling them and doing them over and over and over again. Just find, you know, what other shit can I like do with rev axle and rev arts. It's pretty amazing, you know? And then now we're gonna get into the online of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, after like, you know, a lengthy bit of just like intro and then covering around game mechanics and stuff like that. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is like open beta, right? This was me going into online for like, from like God knows how long. Like I stopped playing online back when when I was playing like Tekken and like just grinding for ranks. The last rank that I stopped at for Tekken was when I was permanently halted at red rank and I was getting frustrated with Tekken. And the last time I played that was March of last year. It was March of last year. And ever since then, I just didn't touch any of like my other games online. I didn't touch Street Fighter Online. I didn't touch Marvel Online. Although for like a bit with like lobby stuff, but that's like lobbies. It's not like me fighting against like, you know, waves of randos and sandbaggers, right? There's no sandbaggers in here. Well, maybe technically in Fatal Fury, but this was like, you know, coming back to the soiree of online fighting games, right? And now with fighting games having rollback netcode like just almost everywhere, just mostly like due from the Guilty Gear Strive effect when COVID happened. Now every fighting game, mostly every fighting game has rollback features, right? And that is like a godsend. Beautiful online. The best ones by far of the rollback era of fighting games: Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear Strive, what else? I tried like one match of Dragon Ball Fighters when they had their rollback update, like just like a casual match. It felt pretty fine, right, for the most part. But still though, it was like, there's still a little bit of like hiccups here and there. Those were good. For here though, the last time I played KOF or any like SNK online was King of Fighters 15. And that was when Rugal got added into King of Fighters 15. And I pretty much stopped anything online for King of Fighters 15 online because of the way how I see SNK games, SNK fighting games as a whole. In that sense is that they're always known for their tight execution, and you really have to like, you know, hit inputs, and you can't be very, and the game is not very lenient about it, nor can you be very like lazy about it. I stopped playing King of Fighters 15 online and pretty much just went to just strict like friend lobbies with my boy E-Skater, because that's where I could feel like, oh, King of Fighters 15 isn't that bad. Its online is actually pretty smooth, and I'm not like gambling rollback frames like 5 to 10 against like randos that just seemingly know how to do buttons. I want to do like cool shit, and like KOF Online did not let me do that because of their rollback, so it was pretty rough. When it doesn't work against me, when it works for me, it's fine. When it works against me, it's totally not buenos. Pretty much the similar case to Fatal Fury City of the... For the most part, I didn't get like that feeling like a lot. Most of the matches in Fatal Fury felt pretty spectacular, right? There were only like a few matches that I got like a few cases of like one and dones. That's just by like a person, or if like there's a bad like rollback situation where it increased to like 100 frames of rollback, or like, you know, an unstable amount of like MS where the game would like literally like, you know, chug. Right? Those are the like only few instances I got for Fatal Fury. For the most part, online matches, outside of like, you know, the first 5 seconds of a match, but for the most of the matches that I have played felt pretty like solid, and there were like no issues, right? There were no issues of like the online itself. The one issue I'm going to like say for of the days that I have played KOF is that I would be constantly going back and forth between like not remembering some of the stuff that I've learned from Fatal Fury, and after like a few matches, I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually remembering now, right? Because KOF is like, you know, not like a game series I have a ton of expertise just figuring out neutral and stuff like that. As like never really like, you know, mastered KOF like neutral, only in like, you know, small like fragments, was kind of like challenging for me. Cause like I would get a lot of cases where people would like jump in on me or just like throw out like, you know, random like moves, and it would lead to like me being like punish countered. And it's like, oh my god, what the fuck am I doing? The one thing I've like, you know, legit like mastered with like, you know, especially for like Rock Howard, was like light confirms into special. And I didn't even do like light confirms into like super or anything like that, because yeah, like with online, again, it's that KOF feeling or like SNK feeling. If you're fighting against somebody with like, you know, maybe medium to like bad rollback netcode, inputs just don't come out, dude. Like it just feels like, bro, I'm like trying to like, you know, churn like, you know, the butter over here. Not like the 360, but I'm just trying to like, you know, move my stick a little bit, and the move wouldn't really like come out, sort of shit, dog. Like, fuck, man. It's hard. Even like I tried to do like, you know, double tapping, but somehow like, you know, like with my left hand, the motion doesn't come out. Even though I intend to do the motion, but it still doesn't come out. And that's mostly due to like, you know, SNK like rollback frames, right? There are like, you know, some instances where like, you know, in bad matches where my rollback frames don't come up, or like my motions don't come up, and like good matches where they do come up. It was sometimes like where I heard from other like, you know, FGC content creators of Fatal Fury saying this, is that, yeah, it would sometimes be the rollback would feel one-sided. Like it just doesn't like come out a lot of the time, and I would just have to like, you know, struggle and wiggle my stick around in order for it to, you know, work. Right? So yeah, it's just pretty rough, if you catch my drift. That's only in like in those matches, or in those like few seconds of that match. And for the rest of the match, it feels like, yeah, it's pretty like, you know, tolerable now. Like I can do like special moves again and things like that. Other like problems like, you know, getting like, you know, quarter circle forward moves after like a run, you know, things like that. It's pretty like bad. Because sometimes you would do like a full-fledged like run, and if you don't do it slowly, you'll get like a accidental DP motion, that's not good. Ranked was like an experience for me, because once again, I have not touched online outside of like the few times, not touched traditional online, right? Lobbies don't count for me. Interesting to just get back into the folds of online and just relearn how I have to approach like players online. Honestly, it was like an exhilarating experience, right? I will say that for all of the days that I have like played online on stream. On Monday though, when everything was just like, you know, I was at work and like, you know, I just got back home from work and like there was a smoke alarm that happened and then mom telling me stuff. It was like, I got super tilted that I just like ended up screaming and raging like off stream, not on stream, but off stream. That I was just getting so mad at playing Fatal Fury, which is not like what I want to do, because Fatal Fury is awesome, but playing against like people was just super aggravating and tilting. I luckily somehow managed to get it in the B's rank, right, which is like red ranks or like, you know, close to like blues if in Tekken laneman terms. I was legit upset. Only because on like Monday, right? Only because like everything was just going south really fast. Everything was like Destiny was like halting me from enjoying fun, you know? Hilarious, but also fucked up. Like, what the hell, man? Fatal Fury is a fun game. It's just the online is like a little bit rough. right? Overall, Fatal Fury is a solid fucking fighting game, and I wish it for it to, like, you know, be good. But there are, like, you know, some problems here and there, right? And I think, like, one of the biggest like problems in Fatal Fury, or at least like two, was that one, there is no legit training mode. There is a tutorial, and the only tutorial character you have is Rock Howard. You can't switch to like other different like characters, right? The reasoning for this is that one, possibly like my assumption, is that players don't get like a leg up against you, right, with trying like different characters or and like things like that. And training mode is not there, so that the company decided that to prevent data mine hackers to get like raw access files of the game, search like the archives, you know, all that dumb shit, and just post them online without the company's consent, just to like gain clout, you know, like leakers and shit. It's also like, you know, a downside because, man, they give us like 8 characters in the beta with the hopes of like, hey, try these characters out in online. There's no training mode to try out these characters, except for like Rock Howard, the main poster child of Fatal Fury, you know? So, man, there are people that want to try out Mai or B. Janet, Hotaru, Preacha, right? Terry, Vox, Kane. All that shit you can't like play unless it's like, you know, a homie match with your homie, and you just like not kiss, but like spit agreement handshake to agree that like, hey, let's try out these characters. This is not for like competition. This is more like for fun. And the other reason, which is like, you know, a big like, you know, thing that is prevalent in some previous SNK games, is matchmaking. And this is like, you know, a very important one, especially in today's standards for fighting games, right? So overall, right, I would say overall Fatal Fury is a solid game, right? As like closing arguments, right? The gameplay is good, the gameplay is solid, wonderful personality of characters, right? SNK is like, in terms of like graphics, a huge fucking improvement to what KOF 14 and KOF 15, right? Everyone looks so goddamn gorgeous and cute and, you know, just all around hella handsome, right? They look hella good in Fatal Fury. The gameplay is pretty sick and creative that you can do so much shit in Fatal Fury. And I hope that the story mode is actually pretty cool. From what we have like heard about, like, you know, Wild Wolf mode or something like that, to be able to go into like Street Fighter 6 World Tour mode and beat up on, you know, randos around Southtown. Only problems that Fatal Fury, the open beta, has right now is A, matchmaking, the B, like some online issues, right? Just like one-sided rollback, right? That's like a thing in here. Fix like, you know, some input leniency stuff, right? Make like inputs a little bit like easier, especially playing online. There is like, you know, a rough like possibly 1 to 2 frames of input delay with Fatal Fury. So that is very like, it leaves like kind of like sour. I would always call Fatal Fury games like gems in the rough, because they just don't get a lot of like, you know, the appeal unless you're like a really specific fighting game fan. It's like that meme of like, you know, the guy who like digs a tunnel with like an axe or like a pickaxe, and all around him as he's like digging, there's like all these like gems of other fighting games, and he's continuously digging after many like months in the trenches of Street Fighter 6 grind or Tekken 8 grind. There are other fighting games that are out there, chat. We just have to like carefully look at them and, you know, be open to everything. SNK definitely is like a shining one. Or there's like another example I remember long time ago of like this meme I saw on Twitter / X of this wording that says, all those in favor. It's like a speech at like a stand, a podium stand to like a crowd. It's like, hey, who likes KOF? Me, everyone, me. And then the next panel at the bottom would say, who likes to play KOF? Me. And who likes to play KOF? One person raises their hand and the rest are like, I'm good, chief. I'm good. You ain't gonna get me to play that. That's like the cycle of SNK games. They look good, but do people ever play them? Probably, you know, but it's very hard to tell. I want SNK to, you know, be good, right? I want SNK to like, you know, pop off, because this feels like, you know, their comeback moment, right? And they're planning on more fighting games like in the near future, and other games that are not really fighting games, right? We got word of like a Samurai Showdown, a Samurai Showdown RPG, right? That's going to be like a thing in the near distant future. We're gonna get like technically a new Art of Fighting game. Follow the tale of Ryo Sakazaki. And of course, we're gonna get a new KOF game, KOF 16. That's gonna like borrow assets from Fatal Fury, and it's gonna be like amazing than it was in KOF 15. Just fix your stuff, like especially on like consoles, like for PS5 for instance, fix the input lag. Fix like, you know, make inputs like lenient, make them like better. You know, make matchmaking a little bit better. That's all we ask for as SNK fans. SNK, you have great potential. You have awesome potential. It's just make them, you know, not just for like local. Anybody can just like, you know, buy a plane ticket and just, I mean, locals and tournaments are amazing, but for most of us, we are at a disadvantage because we don't have that type of money just to like go to like a local, go to like an event like EVO and watch the best of the best players to watch. You can go to a local and just grab like a cheap train ride with the Metro card and go to like Chinatown, and you can find games there, you know? Or even at like your local college, right? They probably like host like, you know, big sponsored events with your said fighting game. Local shouldn't be like your main like focus, because online is also a big factor. Not everybody can just like go out and play. Sometimes we like to stay home and find people to play with. That's like true for, you know, like before like the COVID era of fighting games. Just finding people to play with online when we were like, you know, before COVID, before a natural pandemic, that shit should be important. And after the pandemic, that should also be important. We're getting back into local, but we are so used to like online that it became our normal, and we should improve on that normal. Make better ways for people to enjoy. Make your games more enjoyable from like, you know, the at-home perspective.